Welcome to Weapons of Meme Destruction Podcast, episode 205, which can be found at wmdpodcast.com/205. You can get the audio only on any podcast catcher. Just search Weapons of Meme Destruction, and you get the video on YouTube, Rumble, Odyssey, and X. Friends, Romans, Memes, who are these two handsome gentlemen joining us today? They are Shawn Cav and Ian, I don't remember his last name. Just call him Sketchy Jesus from the Whiskey Capitalist podcast. 2 to 3, 4, maybe 5 times larger than us. So they're doing us a big favor by coming on the show today.
The 56th political podcast in Australia.
2, 3, 4 times they've had us on the show, and we've never had them on our show. But
that is also true. That is also true.
We're all developed. You know, we're developmentally challenged. All right, we're going to be 1 to 2 years behind you at all times. All right.
Yeah,
discuss this.
We are half retarded. We are full retarded. They are half retarded.
You're pointing out your window.
You're pointing the wrong direction, so it only furthers to prove your argument.
Yeah,
I'm with dumbass over here. All right.
I'm with stupid.
Right.
I'm with dumbass too.
We're fucking out of here. Anyway.
So Ian, although he's a very nice guy and says it in jest, he's absolutely right. We have been on the Whiskey Capitalist podcast a couple times and have not returned the favor, but we are righting that grave injustice today. Yes. Fellas, how are your lives? Are you surviving the day-to-day insanity that is the United States of America in 2024? You doing okay? Are you growing your own food? Are you buying ammo, stocking gold?
I mean, doing most of those things, yes. I mean, not stocking as much gold as I would like. I think things are pretty expensive this day and age, but doing the best that we can, for sure. I don't know. I was going to respond with just good.
Yeah, exactly.
How you doing?
You could have just good.
That's what you want. Short, succinct question answers on a podcast. You never want to filibuster.
That's the key to podcasting. No explanations and a lot of dead space.
Aggressively Kurt.
So currently, I guess there's a fire in my area. So if you hear calamity happening outside and helicopters and sirens and everything, they are not after me. They're going for a fire.
Great content.
Sure.
In at this exact moment.
Yes. Yeah. Literally.
So I guess you could say, Ian, things have been better on your end.
No.
The wildfires don't affect him personally. The state's on fire again.
which by the way, that's a good Ian, where are you located, by the way? Aren't you in California?
I am in California, and that is a southern. There we go. That's as close as I'm going to get, because I will never reveal my actual location on the internet because I'm smart.
And you're surrounded by communists, so good on you.
What was that XXX Tentacion? Isn't that how he got murked? Is he took a Snapchat and then he
killed him 10 minutes later?
Yeah, and then they showed up well, gangsters don't know technology.
Ian, you don't have any rat beef, right?
But I'm not that retarded. All
right. And Shawn, are you in the Great Purple Bastion of Pennsylvania?
Yes, I'm right there with you guys. We're all kind of Eastern Pennsylvania. Yeah, it's a bit of a shit show here. Because I mean, I think a lot of us have visited Western Pennsylvania, and it's just rural and beautiful, and it's Trump country, and it's just good old boys. I don't know. It's a great time out there. But here on the eastern side, it's it's icky. It's icky here.
What is that over there, by the way? I know he said it's purple, but what's the temperature? Because I was told I have clients down here that are dumb hot.
Dumb hot.
The chicks or the temperature?
No.
Am I fucking missing a gold mine over there?
Yeah, no, you're definitely not missing any kind of gold mine.
Should we move from Miami to Western Pennsylvania?
Yeah,
that's where they're all at. They flock instinctively like salmon to the sands of Capistrano.
If only they were all Western Pennsylvania. No. Eastern Pennsylvania has none of that. It's just ridiculously hot. Just crazy fucking heat wave, man. It's been nuts.
Yeah, you guys like it cold up there, right?
I don't know. I've heard all the arguments of whether or not it should be hot or cold. I'd rather it be hot because then you can always get cool versus if it's cold, you can always get warm. To me personally, I would rather it be cold because it's much easier to warm up than it is when it's fucking hot to cool down.
You can't take less longer. You can't take more clothes than none off.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I just you put more layers on. You're warm. Done.
Right.
And it's easy.
Was that the international symbol for a thermometer up the ass? Is that,
Yes,
is that how you take the
old?
I mean, if that's what the kids are calling it these days, then yeah.
Hey, honey, give me the thermometer. It's about to go down.
Yeah, the new booty juice thermometer for adults.
Well, now
I've
that
written a movie so far. Don't make us create a product on the air. All right.
Well, now that your locations are being triangulated by people on the internet,
I'm in a red area in California, by the way. Just letting you know. I'm not.
Dude, you just narrowed it down to like that much.
Yeah,
Of
that's
That's what
you're in a county now. They've got you. They've got you.
Ian, that's what all Californians say. Nobody wants to claim the rest of that blue bullshit.
Well, the thing is, like, Ian's in like the same boat as like, for Pennsylvania or even like New York for that fact, where it's like the state itself is red, but then you look at the cities are just dark fucking blue. And then that's just what sways all the votes, because like the red counties, they're just so vast. They're vast and they're sparse with people. That's always been the problem.
Shawn, what do you mean by dark blue?
Yeah.
Dark blue.
Explain yourself.
By the
How
way,
about a lack of lightness to
have we asked any of these geographical
color of the
regions their pronouns? Are we assuming pronouns right now, gentlemen?
They are hard
This is
R
2024. Hard R blue.
Oh, all right. That's pretty blue.
I'm retarded. Come on.
Oh, okay. Well,
Ian went there, guys. I mean, you guys
Well
do stream to
done,
Odyssey,
Ian.
and Ian does have a following on Odyssey. So
right.
Listen, hey, whatever it takes. So now that the people know where to find you, let's introduce them to you a little bit.
In
Now,
the state?
I don't. Yes, the entire state.
We didn't say where our show is. You're like, like go fucking stop there. What?
Hey, this is his first time with a guest, Ian. Let's take it down a notch. We're being a little too rough on him. A little too rough on the Dane.
listen, I can only Andy Richter this thing so hard. It's going to have to take Carson over here to fucking
Dane,
pull it out
we
of his
are going
ass.
to tear you apart when we get opportunities because you're smarter than us.
Here to
That is, listen, that's just what the tie is meant to project. It's not an actual thing. I know, I don't know how old you guys are, but I'm going to say north of 30. It's probably hard to confine 30 years of existence down to a couple minutes, but I am always personally fascinated, interested in how people came to be who they are, what their worldview is, that kind of stuff, what life experiences you have that are unique to you. I think when we were on your show, you guys heard David and I's story about our grandfather, and that's why we hate the government. So in that very similar vein, I would just like to, get you guys for a couple minutes individually to just tell us who you are, why you think the world sucks if Trump's not elected, and we'll take it from there.
Shawn, ladies first.
You were holding on to that when you were waiting, like, I'm gonna let it go first because fine, I don't care. So I guess like if we were not looking for like necessarily the origin story of like the whiskey cap, like the origin story, if I give you like cliff notes of it, essentially it was like I was doing a show, Ian was doing a show, I was doing Sipping with Shawn, he was doing Till Death podcast with his wife, and I was kind of like, looking to try. What was that noise outside?
Are they okay?
If you hear calamity,
pterodactyls and whatnot outside, just like the land of the lost in California.
It's extra authenticity for the show.
Closer than I thought it was. Jesus.
Okay. Well,
Go ahead.
See, way more interesting than our origin story. But like the origin story is essentially just like, I was doing a show, he was doing a show, and I was taking part in a lot of these like kind of like podcasting, like Twitter space things. And it was like, you should try to like network with people that like have like-minded, type content and whatnot. For me, I would do a lot of pop culture and politics type stuff, all like kind of conservative leaning. I pissed off enough people on, in like my area that was like watching me on YouTube. And I was like basically on Patreon only at that point because I already got kicked off of YouTube for some bullshit. And then, I was like, all right, well, I'm done with this fucking thing. So then I reached out to Ian. I saw his show on, I was like, what it was, Rumble or YouTube or something like that. And he was kind of doing like the similar thing. It was very similar, like same kind of like sense of humor, same kind of demeanor and how he was approaching the topics, trying to just get like a laugh out of something that would even just be dark or whatever, because that's kind of like what you have to, for me, it's like you have to find the comedy in a lot of things to try and like get through some of the bullshit that you find in the world. So he was doing that. So I reached out to him and like, hey, like, come be a guest on my show. And then like vice versa. Like he did an interview with me. I did one for him. And, like we just had like a lot of good chemistry of just kind of being able to communicate and like banter back and forth for like a podcast. So we started just like, maybe we should just do this. Maybe we should just create a show. And like, that was kind of like the short version of like the Whiskey Caps like origin. Like what we started doing, we were on YouTube and we started getting some strikes for like stupid shit. And we're like, I think we're done with this. Why are we like trying to basically like go through like these like hoops in order to make them happy with our content? Fuck them. We're going to do our thing and, go to places that will allow us to do our own thing. And that was Rumble. So like Rumble was like our go-to. We're also on Pilled, which is another free speech platform. Very like independent. Like, there's like 3 main people that run the whole thing. It's really cool. Ian will tell you more about that. And then also like on X, of course, like, and that was a big thing too, because I think Ian and I both came back to Twitter when Elon Musk was buying it. That was kind of like the big thing where it's like, hey, you know what? Shit's about to fucking change on the internet, because that was like, they say it's the town square for the internet. It's 100% is. You have to be there to know what's going on in the world. Like there's other platforms that try to do that, but there's always a slant. There's something to it. Yeah. Elon's tried to create something where like everyone's welcome and whatnot. You're going to get backlash for having an opposing viewpoint, 100%. And there's a lot of dumbasses on there as well, but everyone's there. So you're going to get to the minute type stuff of what's going on. So it's probably the best platform to kind of be on currently. Yeah. For myself, my big turning point, I'm going to switch it over to Ian in just a second here, but like my big turning point with like my personal like experience with the government and why I was just done with all of it was essentially like during Trump's election period when he was in 2015 into 16, like, when he was running, I saw the amount of hatred that this man was getting. And I was like, well, like, I'm not one to kind of just make an uninformed like decision about anything like that. I want to like know a little bit of what's going on. So I started tuning into like some of like the speeches, and I started like trying to pay attention to like debates and whatnot. I was like, hey, I kind of agree with everything this guy is saying. And then like you look more into this, the different like subject matter, and it's like, yeah, like I just can't get behind anything that the left is doing, like, or the Democrats. It wasn't even the left necessarily at the time. It was just Democrats and Republicans. Like Trump exposed all of it for like the corporate machine that it is. And like, to me, like that was like a big sign of it. So I shared one of his, like when he first got elected, I shared one of his State of the Unions on Facebook. Huge mistake. And I shared it because I was a musician, so I knew a bunch of liberals. They were like, and man, the amount of fucking backlash that I got from that was ridiculous, where somebody was literally threatening, my daughter, like without getting into like the weeds of what they said and this and that.
This was the love Trump's hate people.
Yes.
These people were the ones.
Okay. This is somebody who literally, made a physical like statement about like something to my daughter, and my daughter was 1 year old at the time. Like maybe I think
that's
she was
a
like,
FAFO moment for right there.
Like, I was like, holy fuck, these people are disgusting. Like this is fucking disturbing that like this is going on. I think this was probably like maybe this was 2000, like because she was born 17, so it must have been like 18 or something when that happened. Hold on,
so pedophiles went after a 1-year-old?
Color us shocked.
Yeah. It really rubbed me the wrong way. Obviously, I was pretty pissed off, and it just showed me that like, hey, fuck all these people, because
and
like
by the way,
they don't care. They're not your friends. Like
your crime was just having a different opinion than them.
Yeah, my opinion was, this is what I said. I didn't say like, hey, Trump. I wasn't doing anything like that. I wasn't like just like a mindless like retweeter type deal. I watched it. I was like, this is actually a really good speech. So I just took it. I was like, hey, whether you like him or you don't like him, listen to like what the words he's saying. Like, this is a good speech. It was a State of the Union. And it was just well spoken, and everything in there was very clear and direct. There was no like politicizing topics necessarily. It wasn't like how it is now, where it's like the left wants you to do this, the left blah, blah, blah. It wasn't that. It was just like, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. And this is the means in which it's going to take for us to get there. So it was that. And that was the thing where people got fucking pissed off. And I was like, they make zero sense. I am fucking done with all of them. And at that point, like, you know, I lost a lot of friends, a lot of like business opportunities because of I was a musician and whatnot. And I'm okay with it. I'm honestly, like, at this point, I've come to terms with all of it because I realized that these people were never interested in caring about me. It was just like they wanted their guy to win over anything else. And like, to me, that's just disgusting and disturbing. But I digress. That's so, my long-winded explanation. I'm going to give it to Ian.
Just one real quick follow-up before we turn it over to Ian. When you had this sort of like, Trump's not such a bad, you know, kind of like doing your own research, which we found out after COVID you're not supposed to do. But when you made that first initial step of, I'm not going to listen to all of the noise that's telling me to go in this direction. I'm going to just check it out for myself and come to my own conclusions. At that point, do you feel like yourself up to that point in your life, were you more, you know, sort of left leaning, you know, sort of, or right leaning? And I mean, like in the very broad sense of like, I generally support unions and minimum wage seems like it's helping the little man and that kind of stuff.
Right. Now, I can honestly tell you that my family was they always voted Democrat. And it was mostly just because, like, you know, like my grandmother, like, you know, like, she was a big fan of JFK and whatnot. And like, it just kind of like goes that far back, like where they're like, oh yeah, well, like, you know, the Democrats at the time were not the extreme party that they are now. And, you know, the way like my dad and I still talk about this to this day is that, like, you know, essentially what we are today is kind of a variance, an assimilation almost of what the liberals were in like the early 90s, like for like a Clinton, like a Bill Clinton voting liberal, just kind of like, hey, like, you know, control the border, you know, good foreign policy, things like that, like try to like diminished our national debt, those types of things. Those were concerns and things that were priorities during that time. So that was like why the family kind of like always went that direction. But like when things started going south, especially during Obama and whatnot, like that was like, hey, we're done with this shit. You know, like we're done with all of it. And that was kind of you know, the eye-opening thing, I think, for the family. And, you know, for me, I became far more politically aware during Obama's presidency as well, noticing like the inconsistencies in what was going on.
Gotcha. Ian, how did you come to the point that you're such a degenerate in your life today? Like, where did this all start?
When I was 8 years old and decided to play guitar.
No, that's where it starts.
The devil gets in through the strings, right?
Before Ian goes, it sounds like you guys had the quintessential, like, did we just start a band moment?
Yep.
Like when you guys, are we making bunk beds? Yeah, we're fucking making bunk beds. There's so much more room.
Jason and do karate?
Fuck yeah, why are we not doing that now? Right.
Why are you guys so sweaty?
What's your favorite non-pornographic magazine to masturbate to? Good Housekeeping.
Right, Good Housekeeping, right.
Okay, so when I was younger, I, you know, typical kid, played baseball, played sports, whatever, and then went to a show, went to Van Halen. It was Van Hagar, so you know,
it's close enough.
Exactly. It was Van Halen and Skid Row. Skid Row, their sound was shit, and then Eddie Van Halen came out with, you know, the wall of of amps across the whole back of the stage. Came out with a cigarette in his headstock of his guitar.
Dango, get some coffee. We're gonna talk shop here for a second. Yeah, go ahead.
This is like me and Casey, the soundboard lord. We're about to have a conversation now. I'll tell you why that's funny in a second. But anyways, so I was watching the show, and he came out with the cigarette in his headstock, and then a power drill. And he started power drilling his strings just like he does in the beginning of the song Pound Cake. And I didn't know, I was a kid, and I was like, I want to do that. Like that, this is amazing. And of course there's a huge like video screen behind him, so you could see everything he's doing. So I looked up on my dad. I was like, I want to play guitar. And so like the next day we went to Guitar Center. He got me a guitar, and it was an acoustic. So that was
grandpa's guitars.
it was fucking gay.
What is this, chairs?
But I mean, but I will say
fingers.
that. Yeah, I will say that for the first 2 years, playing acoustic first was smart because it gave me those calluses, and it kind of, like, so when I got an electric, I was like, dude, this is butter. This is easy. So that was where my degeneracy started. Thanks, Dad. And then and so then, my dad was taking me to concerts all the time. I started listening, getting more into like heavier music and stuff. And like I went more towards like actual, like, good, like music, like rock and like metal, not like classical flamenco shit. So, even though I started acoustic, I still went, the right way. But then just started playing in bands and doing all that. And when I was in bands, and I was in bands down in San Diego, and then I moved out to Austin in 2008 in like June of 2008. And
so you were way ahead of this curve on the whole California to Austin thing, huh?
Oh yeah, I was.
You screwed up and went back.
I went out there because when I was here, I was your typical band dude. I was in a band and I was selling a lot of weed. So when my band broke up, I was like, well, there's no other bands that I really want to be in when I'm here. And I'm going to get caught. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was selling like half a pound every couple of days.
Allegedly.
No, not allegedly. I'll admit it. And so I'm fine.
I'm trying to help you. We got a lawyer over here.
The key point, though, is you're unburdened by that past, right?
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
Exactly.
That's very good.
No, so I realized like I'm gonna get caught. Like this is not like I need to do something. So I called up my girlfriend at the time who was living up in Chico, California, while I was down in San Diego. She was going to school up there, and I said, "Hey, would you want to like?" Hold on, that's not the way the story goes. Real quick. So when we went on tour, we went to Austin, and one of the bands that was like on a distribution deal with the shitty fucking independent label we were on. It was shit. But they had a distribution deal, and we really liked them, party with them. Like their drummer, like fucking climbed up on one of those like big billboard signs, like downtown Austin on 6th Street. The first night we met him, I was like, I fucking love these guys. And so I called them up and I was like, "Hey, I'm not in my band anymore. Do you guys need another guitarist?" They were like, "Well, we have 2 already." And I was like, "Do you want 3?" And they were like,
rotation.
Well, I mean, we'll send you the music, and if you want to come out here and try out, then that's fine. But don't move out here. And I was like, "All right, cool." Next phone call. Hey, girlfriend, do you want to move to Austin? And she was like, "Well, I mean, I can transfer my credits. So, I mean, yeah, sure." So literally within 2 weeks, we fucking moved out to Austin. I had a huge party because I had to get rid of all the weed that I had. Like, because when you sell a bunch of weed, like you just accumulate shake. You just accumulate like all the ends of the bags. So I had one of those huge Tupperwares full of just shake. And I had everyone come over to 40 people come over to my house. And I was like, instead of everyone giving me presents for my birthday and like going away, I'm going to give you presents. And so I just packed, there was like 15 to 20 pieces, like bongs and pipes and gas mask and everything. And I just filled it all up and passed it out to everyone in the party. And they're like, "This guy's fucking awesome. Why is he leaving?" And so, and then, we even after that was done and everyone was sufficiently high, I was like, well, I need to get rid of this hash too. So I put one of those, those little revolver pipes where it has like the 5 different bowls. Anyone know about these?
Yeah, I'm not that professional.
Your game is far superior to ours, my guy.
I'm
just a mom and pop. Like,
anyway, I'm just trying to get there. So anyway,
where you came from, where'd you go? It's like, oh, dude, I went down a fucking rabbit hole, dude.
Yeah,
all about these drugs.
Am I in a fucking K-hole right now? What's going on?
So anyway, I like packed a hole, like all 5 of them, filled it up with hash, passed that around. And what's great is no cops got called. No, it was all this huge party. Well, I'm saying if everyone's drinking and fucking crazy, it's usually there's some idiot that fucking tries to jump off, do something stupid. But everything was great. And so, anyways, we move out to Austin, go out there. It was I was in a band called Set Aflame, and which everyone lovingly called us Set of Flamers. So it was a lot of fun.
You did
a lot of touring out there.
In there.
What did you say?
You did softball that one in there.
Well, yeah, I know.
Those were different times in the mid 2000s. You could say this kind of things.
Yeah, yes. Exactly. And so, there was there were a lot of things that we said in that band that were not allowed to be said. But anyways, it was Austin, so it was kind of where I'm going with that too. Is it was Austin? It was very it was a liberal city. It was Keep Austin Weird, which is weird, right? That we're being called weird now. Okay, now. So I was back there, and it was a lot of fun. It was craziness. I worked on 6th Street for pretty much the whole time that I was there on Dirty Six, like downtown. Like there's like 80 bars, maybe not anymore because they all closed because everything.
COVID.
Yeah, well, that and homeless problem and all the shit. But it was a lot of fun.
Homeless problem in a liberal city. We should look into this.
I know, right?
We should look into this.
Dude, and the homeless people used to be like just regular fucking homeless people. Like they would just come up and ask you for $1, or like they were like, "Hey man, you got an extra cigarette?" I'd be like, "Nah, sorry, I only got 20 in a pack." Like I can't.
I got them all planned out. They've all got their segments. All right.
Yeah, exactly. Can't do it. But it was fun. Met a lot of cool people. And Austin was pretty much like another Hollywood. So it was kind of fun that way. So there were a lot of like famous people that would come in and go drinking and stuff. And it was definitely a lot of fun. Started played in a couple of bands out there. Started up my own right at the very end. Which is a project that I'm actually still working on right now. But I was engaged for about 2 years. She was a cunt. And the whole 2 years, she literally told maybe about 4 or 5 people that we were engaged. I mean, if you look
not
at
super
me,
thrilled about it, huh?
That's your first red flag right there.
But but if you look at me,
she didn't post it on MySpace.
I mean,
no.
First of all, look at this stallion of a man over here. If you're not fucking doped out of your mind to get engaged with this son of a bitch, I don't care to know you.
Sorry, wife. But no. If you look at me and you realized how much cocaine I was doing, then yeah, I get it. I understand. But yeah, so I moved back. It's a weird situation. It's like I had done this before. Like I couldn't my fiance and I broke up, and then she moved, and then my band had broken up, and I was selling weed. It's weird. It's like this had happened.
You went a long way to start, and so wake up right back at the start.
Okay, and so I'll get farther into it. So I came back to California, which my dad and then my mom and my stepdad, they've all been conservative and Republican my whole life. My dad used to listen to Rush Limbaugh and Mike Judge, or not Mike Judge, Drudge. Sorry. And I didn't. It was, we were in the fucking car. It was AM talk radio. I was like, well, this is boomer. And but then after coming back and being away from all the liberal stuff, which I wasn't really politically involved, even though I was in Austin, I was just all about playing metal music, playing metal, getting laid, and doing drugs. Like that was my thing. So I guess you could say I was a liberal. But then, so when I came
some of
back,
us grow out of it, and some of us stay there until we're 70, and we vote for Kamala.
Yeah.
I don't see what the problem is here. All right, I'm having the time of my life.
Like, are you threatening me?
Right.
So I came back, and then it was in 2014 is when I came back. So it was right before literally Hitler came back from when we didn't nurture the killing of baby Hitler. And bring it back. The audience will not understand that.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, we do. That's what's important.
We love innuendos. So,
so it was when Trump was coming back. It was when I was kind of watching more news, and I lived back at my mom and my stepdad's house. So they always had Fox News on. So it was always kind of in my head and getting clean off of drugs, besides weed. Because
so that is not what I would have anticipated. I would have pictured, Shawn, Western Pennsylvania, probably more conservative upbringing, Ian, California, probably more, and it's just completely the opposite. So let this be a lesson to the memes in the broader world, not to judge a book by its cover or where they happen to come from. Shawn knows this, kind of like David and I, originally from Kansas, flyover country, right? We're the great expanse of ignored people, irrelevant. Don't mind us. We just kind of grow all your food, but we're politically irrelevant kind of thing. Yeah. But it's interesting to see that you guys came from different upbringings, which was kind of very different from your immediate surroundings, but yet found your way to reason by simply doing what the experts told us not to do during COVID, which was your own research. So,
well, it was me. It was me watching Trump at that debate, saying that was only Rosie O'Donnell. That right there, I was like, "This is my guy."
I was a man after your own heart. Yeah,
I was like, "This is my guy. He gives zero fucks."
Oh yeah,
yes.
Yeah. And and another part for me was the fact that there was these accounts like Libs of TikTok and whatnot, which for me, a lot of what Sipping with Shawn was social commentary. It's kind of seeing what's happening in the world, whether it was political or whether it was just pop culture, something that was wrong with the way our society was behaving towards something that which we should be criticizing, but instead for some reason we're praising it. It just I had a lot of issues with that type of stuff. So I would kind of call it out. I would call it out in those types of streams, and that was kind of my thing. And that was those types of accounts that kind of put the mirror up to the left and kind of showed it. That's what Libs of TikTok was doing. It still does. But there's so many more that do that as well now too. But there's a lot of people out there just reflecting and shining a light on all the fucked up things that people are praising and oh, it's so brave, so stunning and brave what this person's doing. And this is no, there's nothing brave about this. And especially when kids are involved, being the fact that I'm a father of two, it hits home for me a lot of times where this is something I am very passionate about trying to, keep my kids innocence, intact and stuff like that. And not let when it comes to public school systems try to sway my kids away from logic and reason, which to me is the one thing that's probably lacking the most in society today. There's a huge loss there where there's no logic and reason being taught to children. Instead, it's well, you can be whatever you want, and if you want to grow up and do this to your body, well, that's your right. You can do that, and you don't have to tell your parents. You don't have to all of that type of shit. Makes my blood fucking boil.
Absolutely.
And that's the stuff where that's where the passion for me comes from when it comes to doing a lot of these types of streams and the topics that I might suggest for the show, to Ian and whatnot, where these are things where it's I could go on for fucking ever just tearing this shit apart. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, as a new parent myself and, David soon to be, one thing that I heard the other day is, somebody, I can't remember who said it, but they said
what 16-year-olds do in the backseat of cars all the time. It's
just about 16 years too late. But when people try to say, "Oh, don't shelter your kids," fuck you. If you tell me not to shelter my kids, I automatically know you're a groomer, at least in some respect. My first objective and responsibility is to shelter my kids.
There is that catch-22 on that. There's you have to shelter them, obviously, away from the degeneracy that is going on in our culture. But if you shelter too much, then
of course,
I think that could be
everything in moderation.
Yeah, exactly. I just
like food and everything is in moderation.
Yeah, I love my little sister, but she is super sheltered. I'm glad she wasn't a fucking hua when I was gone in Austin, so I didn't have to fly back and beat someone up. So
So this is where the gray area kind of exists. What Ian's bringing up in this, it's where eventually your kids are going to have to go out into the world and see things and whatnot, and you don't want it to be a complete culture shock as to what they're exposing themselves to. So it's the best thing I've found that's worked with my own kids is that when you see something, you say something to them about it. So it's like the see something, say something kind of carries over into the situation where it's like, hey, you see that guy over there? Okay, that is not someone safe to be around. All right, and I'll explain why that person's not safe to be around. And then like my daughter takes that into her head, and then she understands, all right, I don't got to say anything, but I know what that is now. So like, those types of things will keep your kids safer in those situations when they are out on their own, because you can't be there all the time. Like as a parent, you put your kids in public school, like, unless you can afford to do private school and stuff like that, they're going to go into the system. And like, that's where like, okay, you gotta like pay attention to what they're teaching, who's saying it, like get to know the teachers, like see the teachers and whatnot, like, physically, like kind of like, like you gotta see who they are, and then like kind of like go through that facade of like that first like parent teachers meeting and kind of like get down to the root of things. And I've done that before. My wife gets embarrassed by all of it. Like she like we've gone to parent teacher meetings and she's like, stop it, Shawn. I was like, no. Like, I just ask, because like I want to see if there's like a meritocracy that's being taught in this, or is it like everyone wins, yay?
Well,
or
it sounds like what you guys are getting after is pretty much how you want to raise your kids. Is like you don't want to shelter your kids from everything, but you just want to teach them that they need these guidelines to be able to go out and make decisions for themselves.
Yes,
and be able to discern.
You want to teach them so you can let them go on their own.
So you can throw them into the maelstrom. Go ahead.
Just to let you know, wife just came in. She was out shopping, and she said evidently there might be an evacuation of our area.
Oh, so perfect timing. Glad we could get you on for this 5 minutes.
Exactly. So if I have to be like, sorry guys, fuck you, gotta go.
No, you stay there and burn.
And grab the hard drives
and erase them quickly.
Take the hard drives with you.
Okay, one thing I do want to say before we move on here is for one, Shawn was wrong. He said I took notes. The biggest social media platform is not X, okay? It's Threads. Let's be honest. Also,
so true.
I'm very, very what's the word?
Horny?
Insulted by Dane that he would dare ask two brave and beautiful women what their ages are. That is just, how dare you? And also one of the things that we did do that you guys were a part of was the bannies, which is one big thing that we are. I just had to do it because every time Shawn laughs, bring it up. Yeah, I had to say it. But no, that was one of the funner things that we've done as a podcast, as like a network, was putting that together. So that was a lot of fun. And so now you guys that are watching this, you can go find it.
Yes, which you definitely should, and you should skip to like about an hour and a half in, where there's a portion of the segment,
like the best part of the whole
show.
It's a full-on award show, dude.
The rest of it's fluff, but that 30 seconds of me and David, that's what you want to be there for.
Dane, like listen,
first take.
You guys got to be in the video with Chad Prather and Josh Lacash, and
that is true.
Who else? Who else? Ian? Like we had a bunch of people in there.
We had Trump.
Yeah, we did have Trump. He got my name wrong, but I mean, like,
oh, you guys got Trump?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Do you want to see it?
Called me
Show
one.
It.
Pull it up.
Hold on.
While we're waiting for Ian to pull it up, let's get now that the memes know who Shawn and Ian are of Whiskey Cap the Whiskey Capitalist podcast.
Can you get it
let's get some commentary, because
takes a second.
Shawn actually provided a really good segue for us, because he's like, I'm talking about current events, I'm doing that kind of stuff. As you all know, that's why you tune into this show, for the same kind of stuff. So now you have two other masters of the craft here to talk about some of the crazier shit that's been happening in the last 7 days. So let's give them a go. Let's see how they try their chops out for this. We're gonna bring up a video here of Maduro calling out Elon, and we're gonna see what the boys think about this.
TMZ, I'm already
Estás desesperado. Te fuiste de boca en los mods. Contrólate. Que te van a llevar al fracaso, igual que esta derecha llevó al fracaso a todos los políticos estadounidenses. Elon Musk, quien se mete conmigo, se seca. Quien se mete con Venezuela, se seca. Elon Musk. ¿Quieres pelea? Vamos a darle, Elon Musk. Estoy listo. Soy hijo de Bolívar y de Chávez. No te tengo miedo, Elon Musk.
Okay, hold on. First thing, is he talking about like his wives? Like
Boys,
everyone
thoughts.
have dried up?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
they all dry up when they mess with Maduro.
Just thought I'd ask.
So that's the guy that took a bite out of the bean burger or the bean burrito with his entire
watch your mouth, you bigot.
with his entire nation.
Yes, David, Venezuelans are not
It's really
Mexicans.
hard for all of them. I can't finish it. It's so filling. Throw the rest of it away.
Feed it to the dog.
Good God.
No. I want you to walk it past them as they're starving. Walk it past them. Let it waft past the people, and then throw it in the garbage.
Boys, you have I know you got something to say about that. Something. Anything.
Oh, I mean, like, do we have Elon's response?
No, so I think this was from Elon's response in the sense that Elon, said obviously the Venezuelan elections were rigged, duh.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And that, Maduro was just, kind of grasping
By the way,
at straws
Elon's a big boy. He's like 6'2" or 6'3", right?
To keep his power, and that it's pathetic, and that's what socialists do, and all of that kind of shit.
Like that's why he has such a weird kind of like a gap whenever he's talking, because his brain is just kind of like going so fast. He's like,
but he's thinking about the boring. He's thinking about boring right now in this part of his brain. Then he's thinking about SpaceX years. Then he's like Tesla, but he's talking, so he's like running that on. The processor, the low grade processor.
Someone called him a barrel chested brainiac, and it
doesn't sound like an insult.
No, I'm okay with that. And honestly, I think he would be okay with that. She was like, "You're not wrong. You're not wrong."
Yeah. I mean, it would be an interesting fight, but I would just
listen. The fight will never fucking happen. You want to know why? Because
Elon did accept, though. Elon accepted, by the way.
Of fights that would have ever happened would have been Zuckerberg versus Musk, which never fucking happened.
But I feel like this is like, dude, get your game up, dude. Like, this is like the number 32nd fighter in the UFC calling out the champion. Like, what the fuck does Elon have to gain from this fight? Like,
very true.
You're the president of a dying country. I'm
the
internet
Venezuela.
god. Like, what do you want
Elon
from me?
could buy Venezuela.
By the way, you could buy Venezuela. You could become the new president. Buy your way in.
Isn't the president like 70 something? Like, come on, man.
Age range, weight class. We're already running into so many problems. And we haven't even started the fight ticket. Who's going to be on the undercard? I put up Kamala Harris, Mud Russell's Hillary Clinton. Why not?
Yeah,
I'm down for it.
GDP
no, for one thing, I don't want to see any of them in bikini. It would be Nancy Pelosi and AOC. Come on.
With them biggins?
Yeah.
Not that this is what the country.
You could fill the mud up like 10 feet and they'd
Fuck
still
it, KY jelly. KY jelly. Let's do it.
Wait, can I float one? How about AOC and Bobert? I mean, like that would be like more my cup of tea.
Yeah.
Who's the
Jesus Christ
big back bitch baby that was
Are you sitting in the Twin Towers? What's today's date?
I don't know, dude.
Dang. For you? Like, that's pretty
too soon.
Jesus,
is it too soon,
God,
guys?
I think it's forever too soon.
This
too soon.
Come on, man.
But no, that was I don't even remember what I was saying. Dane threw me off with how dark he went.
We were talking about politicians with big boobs.
Good. I just wanted to say, okay,
Marjorie Taylor Greene. That was the one.
Ugh,
like,
gross.
what does she call her? Like a big back baby,
the butchy blonde, big boned bitch,
big
or something
bone
like that.
Black.
Hey,
I want to see her in a
So just the thing that we hoped wouldn't happen happened. I have to pack things.
I'll hang out for you.
All right, well, just do it in the background so we can at least see
just
you.
like put your like number one over there.
I want the first thing to go in your suitcase to be that empty Aunt Jemima bottle. That's what I want. You gotta take the valuable stuff first, okay?
We have to play some really somber music as he leaves.
As he packs
everything up, like the Hulk soundtrack when he's walking down the street at the end of every episode.
Yeah. Well, there's that. But I was going to go the sad Charlie Brown music. Blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Well, before you go, since you do have it up here.
Hello, Americans and Truth Social. I have a huge announcement for you. Turns out that I won a major award. How major? It's called the Bannies for the most bannable person ever. I didn't know I was running for it, but guess what? I'm not surprised that I won it. And you know who I have to thank for that? I have to thank the DNC, the RNC, Nancy Pelosi, the mainstream media, all the fake news reporters. Thank you guys so much for making this possible. Couldn't have done it without you. But a less sarcastic thank you, I really want to thank all the members of the Whiskey Capitalists, Ian and Juan. And then, of course, I want to also send out a big thank you to all the members of the Till Death Podcast Network, because without you, we wouldn't have the Bannies. We wouldn't have this amazing award that I received today in the mail. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it. I'm great. And I appreciate you acknowledging that I am great as well. So with that, I want to say thank you so much. And make sure you go out there and you vote. I want you to be out there in the ballot boxes. I want you voting in person. 2024, Donald J. Trump, your 47th president of the United States of America, coming to an Oval Office near you real soon. So with that, thank you so much, and bye-bye.
I like the
When did Trump grow a mustache? Did I miss something?
Oh, it was shading. It was the shading. It was the lighting is what it was.
It's still Donald Trumpo.
Donald Trumpo.
It's his cousin.
Real quick, just wife came in. She said that
is she going to let you stay and play with us?
Well, I mean,
Pause.
it's kind of like, do I like living?
Don't die for us. Like that. We're not.
You live in California. You can't like it that much.
Yeah.
There's like
coming at you live in living color. We're surviving the apocalypse.
That sounds like a really close call.
Like they're dropping like buckets of water over top of like
that red shit is hitting his house as we speak.
Oh, I should let you know that the fire is like across the street from our condos.
Fuck.
So is it?
Well, if you got
now we know
you haven't
what part
lost
of
connection
California
yet. So how bad can it be?
Very true. Very true. Cut that, please, whoever's editing. No, but yeah. So, wow, this is awesome. There's so many things. Hey, clip that out, please, because we can't do that on a live stream. I miss
cut.
Yeah. Take it again, back from the top. All right, everyone. Places, everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
Go ahead.
It's
Do you have to go for real?
No, my wife works for city government, not in the city that we live in, but so she talks to, has connections with other cities, and she's kind of getting messages from people like, hey, you should do this, blah, blah, blah. But it's a parking lot right outside of our place anyway, so it's not like we would be going anywhere.
Everyone's trying to escape right now.
So what you're telling us is you're in this until you're on fire.
Dude, you're one of those guys that's on the roof of like, was it during Katrina?
Be fine.
Like in like Louisiana, you're like on the roof of the house, like I was in a podcast, I couldn't get out.
I've done this 1,000 times.
Yeah, there were a couple queers I was talking to on the internet, and they were
all that interwebs.
Yeah.
They say it'll be
Shawn,
fine.
David, did you hear what he just called you guys?
Unbelievable.
So with that being
How
said,
did he
on to
know?
the next segment. We're talking retards, are we? We're going to need a stronger word than that for the wannabe future president. And if Trump does this, listen, I, as a non-Trump voter, will give the man credit for his, if nothing else, his Supreme Court picks have, if not saved this country, at least pushed off the absolute destruction for, as long as those people are on the court or the Democrats can find a way to pack it. So good on him for that. The second best thing he will have done.
They're good at packing fudge. So, I mean,
the second best thing he will have done is if he gets rid of these kind of people.
Uh-oh.
What do you mean, you people?
So, Kamala Harris was recently asked about her plans for inflation. Let's see what the towering intellect of the Democratic Party had to say about it.
Can you tell us a little bit about how you would prevent the new spending and your Build Back Better agenda from exacerbating the problem? And also, what else are you going to do to fix this problem with inflation?
All right, thank you. Well, let's start with this.
Here we go. Buckle in.
Prices have gone up. And
That's a good start.
Families and individuals are dealing with the realities of
Prices going up.
that
She's looking down what my notes that I don't see anything in my notes about this.
bread costs
She's
more, the
hitting her
gas costs
stride.
more.
Kind of retarded.
And we have to
Prices have
understand
gone
what
up.
that means. That's about the cost of living going up.
Because
That's about having to stress and stretch limited resources.
Stretching it.
Thank you for
That's about a
identifying
source of stress
inflation.
for families that is not only economic, but is on a daily level. Something
daily
that is
level.
a heavy
I don't know
weight
what the
to
fuck that
carry.
means.
So it is something that we take very seriously.
It's like a
Very
burden,
Super
right?
serious. It's super
And we
serious.
know from the history of this issue in the United States that when you see these prices go up, it has a direct impact on the quality of life for all people in our country.
Fuck.
So it's a big issue, and we take it seriously.
It's the
And
burden
it
of
is
big
where we
issue and
priority.
they take it seriously.
So we have addressed it in a number of ways. One of the issues that we know is related to this is the supply chain issue that we just discussed.
It's a
an
big
old
issue,
topic.
guys, and she takes it seriously. I don't know if you
Super.
guys were aware of that.
How are they going to fix it? We
Wait
know
until
that
she
these are
finds out
things.
about Man Bear Pig. She's gonna flip her shit. Super ethereal, guys.
The mere fact that like she just spent like a minute and a half just
It might be a little-
basically redefining and going over and over and over again like what inflation is. Okay, we
All right,
got
yeah.
it. Yeah, we
Real quick.
understand what.
If I just leave by without saying anything, they might
We'll see on the next one.
they
or
might
not.
shut electricity off. So that's not me hating anyone besides Shawn, but just
No,
letting
we
you-
get it. We get it. You're fleeing
No,
for
if-
your life.
If
We
you
won't hold it
disappear,
against
we're
you.
gonna take that as you just like exited the show unceremoniously, and we're gonna
We'll
hate you
never
forever.
invite those pricks back
So,
on here again.
yes, you're never coming back. It's just gonna be the Shawn show.
Yeah,
Yeah, so-
a minute and a half of constantly defining and using synonyms for like inflation. Inflation. Yes, we understand. We understand what the question was. Yes. What are you going to do to fix it? There is no solution. She has no fucking solution for any of this type of stuff. She is baffled. How do I work unburdened into this response?
With this?
This was exactly what her response was about the whole Russia-Ukraine war. So Ukraine is a country in Europe, and Russia is right next to Ukraine.
These are
And
facts.
Russia is a lot bigger than Ukraine. And blah, 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 blah. Like, I don't
She's not
understand
wrong.
why these
She's still batting
politicians
1,000.
cannot come to terms with the fact that it's infinitely less retarded to simply say, I don't know. That's a good question.
We're gonna
I'm
do our
going to
best.
check on that, and then I'll come back and I'll,
Jen
you know,
Psaki.
I'll
Okay,
let you
I
know.
will
I'll
say
circle
so.
back. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
will
I'll
say
circle back.
though,
That would be better than what she just did.
Who was it? Gary Johnson, maybe, I guess. I mean,
Mhm.
you guys would know.
Yeah. He's,
Didn't he say he didn't know
Is that
what
a jab,
Aleppo
Dane?
was?
Did he just
Yes.
jab us a little bit? That fucker.
yeah. No, Gary
California's-
Johnson deserves it because he was a shitty candidate. And how do you not know
I'm
what
not- I'm
Aleppo
not saying
is
that he
while the
wasn't,
Syrian war
Just
is
saying, the son of a bitch threw a
Have y'all-
barb at us.
exploding? So.
Have y'all had a good candidate since Ron Paul?
We'll find one out there somewhere.
listen.
God damn it!
We
almost had Dave
have
Smith.
always self-identified as small L libertarians, never big L. So don't be putting that juju on us there, buddy.
Hey, stop talking about tunnels.
Until they nominate Dave.
Yeah.
But I don't know about you guys.
Chase Oliver, but
Oh
you know,
God,
Hey,
don't
stop
even
it.
get me started.
just saying.
That's not even a real thing. But I've seen what this reminds me of. It feels like every time Kamala shows up, and you guys let me know if I'm off base or not. But
You
it's thank you.
It depends. Are you talking shit
It just
about her,
seems
or
like
are you?
it seems like a shitty 5th grade book report that she didn't read the book, so she's just like fishing. So she's like,
That's every
yeah,
speech.
Huckleberry Finn, yeah, of course.
Yeah, he used the N-word, believe it or
his-
not.
his friend Tom Sawyer. Tom Sawyer is a good friend of his, and they were finning huckleberries, and there was a fence, I think.
Yeah,
And I
was a
believe,
fence. I saw it in the movie.
I believe in
Fairies
African.
were huckled.
And there's a river, and sometimes you just gotta cross that river. You know what I mean? So Huckleberry Finn.
And
5
I
out of
did a
10.
diagram about this as well.
Right. If you look here at the passage of time, and when
his
time
name?
passed,
Something Jim. What was his name? There you go. Thank you.
Other person Jim. Thank you. And my good friend Jim.
Minority Jim. Damn it! It was Minority Jim.
So I think
why can't he just be Jim Huck?
If we could reach some sort of consensus on this, I think it is that we're not
Listens
well
to
led.
rap Jim.
Is that a polite way of putting it? That
Yes. I would agree with that. Yes.
we may have better options out there than what we currently are given on that side of the political
By the
spectrum.
Way, was this candidate? Speaking of candidates and picking them, was this candidate? I'm just going to drive this home from last week. Was this candidate? Did like the DNC select them and they were voted in by all the constituents? And,
Some
like,
did.
The people had
about 10.
Hold on.
About 10 of them did.
Are you trying to insinuate that the DNC screws their candidates over?
And then like
no, they're voters. They're voters. Yeah.
Like, when was the last time you guys got to choose your candidate, guys? Because you chose Bernie. You chose Bernie, and then they go, these fucking idiots don't know anything. All right, Hillary, getting in there. You're getting in there. You're going to be the first woman president, even though we don't know how to define that. We're going to let you be the first president that gets her ass kicked by an orange Cheeto.
And then Joe, it's just you're the heir apparent because you're old and you paid your dues, and then now this. So yeah, the party of democracy that holds it to be so sacred. Not big fans of democracy.
Yeah, I honestly feel like they are a perfect example of like a monarchy at this point, where like literally we've seen now like the passing of the baton. It was so beautifully done, as Jeff Bridges stated. It was so beautifully passed.
The dude said that?
No, like Jeff Bridges, like the dude. Yeah, sorry, the dude said that. Yeah,
David, you can't have anything. David lost Tenacious D.
Fucking thing.
He lost Arnold Schwarzenegger with Screw Your Freedoms. He lost Jeff Bridges. Who else did we lose, David?
It's been a rough decade.
I mean, if you want to say it's like a monarchy, well, the monarchy were incestuous and their children are retarded. So I mean, I guess you could say that's right because they're retarded.
At least we still have Bowie
down the line. Yeah.
I will say this in defense of monarchy. I
like this.
A great book on it is a Democracy, the God That Failed. And in there, Hans Hermann Hoppe argues that
what'd you just say?
A monarchy is actually preferable to democracy because at least the monarch has some sort of hereditary preference for not completely destroying and looting his country.
Because whenever he introduce you to my friend Josh Lacash, because he wants a king in the worst way.
Well, if he has not read that book, he definitely should, because it's very well argued in the sense that a king at least passes his country down to his heirs, so he's at least incentivized not to completely loot the country.
Hey, you guys, I gotta go.
Bye, Felicia. What do these politicians, right, that are in there for 50, 60 years, that have completely looted the country and have turned it upside down and made it not what we inherited as children. It's going to be a dumpster fire for the next 30, 40, 50 years of our lives. That is a direct result of politicians that have no skin in the game, other than to just, insider trade and take what they can out of the country. But other than that, it's just, if it goes down in flames, what do they give a shit for? They're going to die and pass all their money to their kids. They don't have any legacy to preserve. So in that sense, from an incentives perspective, monarchy is much preferable to democracy. Now, we don't have a democracy, constitutional republic, blah, blah, blah. But juxtaposing those two things.
I mean, it is really funny that we're talking about retards and then you make that statement. You don't take a system that has been corrupted and change it into a worse system. What?
I would argue it's not worse.
Well, your argument would be
don't vote for him.
You don't vote for kings?
It's like, live in a subsidized authority, whatever he says.
Nice. How did you become king?
I'll give you another. I'll give you another data point, Ian.
We live in a narco-signous commune. You take it in turns to act as a circuit executive for the week.
When you have a king,
look, I'm being oppressed.
Bloody peasant. Oh, what a giveaway. You see that?
When you have a king, who's calling the shots in your country?
El Capitan, son.
The king, right?
Sure.
At least you can put a face to the policies. Who's calling the shots in the U.S.? Any of our elected officials?
I'm not the main one because he's a vegetable and he poops himself.
Right. Some shadow organization behind him, headed up by the Obamas, at least in the Democratic side, and some even other shadow of bankers behind them.
Do that. Like if you work hard enough to change that system there, because it came from a system that was a constitutional republic. So it's obviously able to be done. So
how's that working out for us?
Because we haven't done shit to change it. We've allowed the leftists to be the people that they are. But you don't just say, this thing that started out to be good that obviously can work in the beginning. Let's just abandon that and not try and get back to that. And let's just let this fucking dumb fucker rule the country.
I am not saying that I would personally prefer monarchy, but I am saying that a monarchy compared to the system that we have today, much more preferable. If we had the constitutional republic and if the Constitution was actually capable of restraining government, great, all for it. But it's like Lysander Spooner said, either the Constitution that we have has either prevented the government from growing to the size that it is today, or it has explicitly allowed it. In either case, judged on that merit, the Constitution is a miserable failure. So I love all of the high ideals and political theory behind constitutional republic and keeping government limited and all that kind of stuff. Doesn't work. So what we need to fix that, I don't know, but voting, trying to get in the system and change it from the inside and do all that kind of stuff. The first person that steps forward with a plausible plan to actually turn this crazy train around, short of complete empire and economic collapse, which necessitates a change, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen a solid plan for it one way or the other. So,
well, I mean, that whole thing of you can disagree with people, but still like them.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. There it is.
Yeah, there we are.
Well, you don't have to like him. It's not a prerequisite. You can
David doesn't.
Dislike
He's
him. I don't
grown
like
up
the
with
son
me
of a
my
bitch
whole
at all.
I'm just on a show with them. I'm kind of into this shit.
Whatever.
So
something to do on a Friday night.
Contrary to what Kamala and Hillary always do, more on that in a moment, we have a recent event where Trump, to his credit, goes to I forget what the name of the conference was called.
The National
Black Media Conference or
Black
something.
Journalists.
Yes,
sorry about that, guys.
I just
I had a kid interruption there for a second. So
it happens to
Let
the
me
best
guess,
of us.
you have a fire too that you have to leave as well. Jesus
no, I have a
Christ,
loving family that misses me.
We get it.
I have a loving family that misses me.
Doesn't like the WMD boys. We get it. Whatever.
I'm sorry. I love my kids a little bit more than you guys, but I still like you guys.
Wow.
I know.
Yes.
We figured we'd give you some shit for not having us on for almost a year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah,
I told you we were trying to right that wrong.
You keep bringing up old
righting the wrong does not take away from us being able to
unencumbered by the past. Ian,
shut up and let's
get it to your fucking head.
Play the video. I want to watch this.
Shut up, Shawn.
So let's see the other side of the ticket, so to speak, and let's see how Trump handles hostile questioning.
You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabid to describe black district attorneys. You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir.
No mention of how he treated Rosie O'Donnell or Elizabeth Warren or all of the Republicans that stood up to him, men and women that were white. It's only that he focuses on one side, according to this genius journalist who now everybody on the left is applauding because she's so great and fantastic. And yeah.
So
now that you
just keep on reiterating calling somebody a racist over and over and over again. It's like people think that that's a win. That's not a win. You didn't prove anything.
She's got all the wrapping paper. She's
Exactly.
a black woman. She's untouchable.
How about
goddamn actor?
Be a journalist and be like, hey, you said this. Do you have a comment? Okay.
That's a comment.
Now you also said this. Do you have a comment? Like, you know what I mean? Like
That's actual journalism.
Back and forth.
This. Oh, you're evil. How do you respond?
Here's a list of all the things that we want to call you, and now you have to try and respond to all of that in 30 seconds. Go. And it's like, to answer your question there, Dan, it wasn't really a question, but like the most unstoppable force is a black woman, Jewish lesbian.
That's the unholy trinity.
Also,
that would definitely get elected.
Also paraplegic.
So
oh yeah, now you got all fives. Yeah, handicapped on top of it.
And
she gets the parking space.
She's undergoing
Sean, please,
sexual
handy-capable,
reassignment surgery as we speak.
The wife
is pregnant as well.
Needs to become a lesbian, and then align with Ben Shapiro, and then become paralyzed.
Listen, like the parking spaces that they go for are handicapped spaces, so they're handicapped people.
How dare you assume what they identify as?
I identify as handy capable, you fuck.
So let's let Trump defend himself or not. We'll see how he handles this question. It's almost over.
To vote for you, why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question in such a horrible manner. A first question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network. And I think it's disgraceful that I came here in good spirit. I love the black population of this country. I've done so much for the black population of this country, including employment, including opportunity zones with Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, which is one of the greatest programs ever for black workers and black entrepreneurs. I've done so much.
Elizabeth Warren is Indian.
And I say this, historically black colleges and universities were out of money. They were stone cold broke. And I saved them, and I gave them long-term financing, and nobody else was doing it. I think it's a very rude introduction. I don't know exactly why you would do something like that. And let me go a step further. I was invited here, and I was told my opponent, whether it was Biden or Kamala, I was told my opponent was going to be here. It turned out my opponent isn't here. You invited me under false pretense. And then you said, you can't do it with Zoom. Well, where's Zoom? She's going to do it with Zoom, and she's not coming. And then you were half an hour late, just so we understand. I have too much respect for you to be late. They couldn't get their equipment working or something was
Mr. President,
wrong.
I would love if you can answer the question on your rhetoric and why
I have answered the question. I have been the best president for the black population since Abraham Lincoln. That's my answer.
Better than President Johnson, who signed the Voting Rights Act.
For you to start off a question and answer period, especially when you're 35 minutes late because you couldn't get your equipment to work in such a hostile manner, I think it's a disgrace. I really do.
Hey,
you have
color people time.
First of all,
African American time, please.
First of all, I have to get this out because it's been burning in my brain ever since I heard her say it first.
Hey, there's a fire near me.
I'm sorry.
Burning me up.
That was poor choice of words. Is that part where she jumps in there at the end, like even better than Johnson who signed the voter rights? Oh, you mean, so wait a minute. Your question started out that it's all about his rhetoric and not his policies, which he then explains how his policies helped a certain group of people. But you ignore and specifically cite as somebody better than him, Johnson, who is quoted by his own staff as saying, we're going to basically pass these civil rights bills and we're going to have these N-words voting Democrat for the next 100 years.
And by the way,
I would venture to say that despite having her little quips and little things here and there, you said this, not true, blah, blah, blah. She's incredibly uninformed, but this is the hallmark, the hallmark of the left. It is, I have these memorized lines that make you seem really bad, but I'm completely ignorant of everything outside of that context. And she exposed herself there at the end, but she couldn't help it.
Well, we on the right are in the cult. Right?
But yeah. But wait until she finds out about the 1994 crime bill and who pushed that through Congress. She's going to have egg on her face.
And that's the whole point. Rhetoric over policies. It's
right.
Do you sound good about your intentions and what you tried to do? Well, what actually happened when the rubber met the road? How did the people that I allegedly care about, how did their lives improve? Usually not so much, but anyway, that's my diatribe.
I just have to keep checking on the ominous cloud outside of the window.
Don't be a pussy.
You're on fire, Dean. You keep on going.
He's burning.
Sean, your thoughts.
He's on fire. Does anybody else remember NBA gyms, by the way?
Yes.
What's that?
He's heating up. Yeah, of course.
Exactly.
Fuck yeah.
I mean, quite honestly, like the entire line of questioning is just so out of line, like to where it's like, like obviously, like, I don't know if it was 100% true or not that if Kamala was supposed to be there or whatever, but like if that's the case, then like, clearly this was like a whole like scheme just to get him to go there so they could try to attack him to kind of create more negative press. So like it was like under false pretenses for sure. Does that mean that he shouldn't answer the questions? No, he should absolutely answer the questions. And like he should honestly answer their questions with questions as well. It's like, why is this so important to you to try and push like such a racially based set of questions? Like why is everything got to be race? I understand this is like the Black Caucus, but like their entire thing is just like because of the color of their skin. To me, that entire thing seems racist because of the fact it's like, oh wow, like we're only concerned about our own people, our own this, our own that. Meanwhile, like essentially like make America great, or if you want to consider just conservatives in general, it's like it's about the whole. It's about like, we want to get rid of the terrible path that we're on right now as a nation and bring it back to where it's like we can all like thrive. We can have that American dream. I don't believe that the American dream is completely dead as of yet, but like it will die 100%. It will die if we continue to have leftist policies in place. So like people need to come together behind this thing and put aside the fucking bullshit race baiting garbage and realize that it's like, who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck about any of the race nonsense? I understand it goes with like the polling where it's like, all right, well, we increased Black jobs. We did this for Black communities. We did this. We did that.
What's a Black job?
Okay. Yeah, exactly. What is a Black job? And if you want to try and go down into that, it's like, okay, those are jobs within Black communities where it's like, all right, your densely populated area, we created jobs in this area. Guess what? That becomes a Black job now because you got people who live in that community that are, let's say 90% Black. Okay, now we've created essentially what would be jobs for that community.
And investing in and keeping that community safe and raising the standard of living, all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why can't those jobs be like police officers patrolling the streets? Like government, like appointed positions, or not government appointed, but like government funded positions like that.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, I just heard it.
See you later, guys. Appreciate you.
Be safe.
Thanks we're going to do this again when you can stay on full time. I'll try to plan better around the California wildfires.
Being on the show anymore. So you still have to have us on, and I'm still mad at you guys.
Okay.
All right. Love you. Bye.
Thanks. Love you. Bye.
Be safe.
Later, dude.
Peace, man.
Well, now you just get me.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
All right. Now that piece of shit's gone, let's get to the real nuts and bolts of this thing.
Full credit to Trump, by the way, too, for not pandering, because he had every opportunity to be like, oh, no, I said this, but I meant that. But he, again, to his credit, redirected the conversation. You say my words mean X, Y, or Z. Well, judge them by their fruits, right? Mm-hmm. This is what my policies did. And, explained it, not pandering in any way, shape, or form, just as president, I did these things and this improved this community. So no matter what you say I said or what meaning you inferred from what I said, my actions clearly belie the point that you're trying to make, is that I dislike or don't care for this community or whatever the case may be. So, good on him for doing that.
Absolutely. I fully agree where it's like, this is something where he stood his ground on like, should he have said the things that he had said in the past? No, it was probably shooting from the hip. And also keep in mind, a lot of things get taken out of context. Whenever something sounds really, really bad, read into the context. Like if it's like a video, watch like 10, 15 minutes beforehand, watch some time afterwards as well. Just kind of wrap yourself around that little sound bit, that little clip. And also, like, you know, that's just a big part of it to me. It's like the context gets lost on a lot of those type of, like, you said this and you did that, blah 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 blah. It's like, that doesn't prove anything. And that sound bit type journalism is no better than doing like a BuzzFeed fucking article. Like, you're fucking lazy. You don't deserve to be a fucking journalism.
They're not looking for answers. They're not looking for the truth. They're just looking for their, like you said, their sound piece. And that's not journalism.
Yeah, there's a lot of that gotcha journalism.
Yeah, because the alternative to the way Trump handled that question, and what he could have done if he went to that particular audience, is handled it the way Hillary Clinton and Kamala Harris do.
I don't feel no ways tired. I come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me that the road would be easy. I don't believe he brought me this far to leave me.
And you all helped us win in 2020, and we're going to do it again in 2024.
We going to do it.
See, that, friends, is what we call the black scent, and that is the old country black scent. That is the black scent that all of these politicians bring out every 4 years when they want to go talk to the black folks. And they need to know the black folks. You know, they need to talk to them with the old Southern dialect. You know, when they talk to the black folks, they need to know that they ain't in no ways tired. And in 2024, we gonna get this done, black folks. We gonna give y'all freedom, black folks. We gonna give you freedom. Reminds me of? You gonna vote for old Hillary Clinton because she ain't no ways tired, and you gonna vote for Kamala Harris so you can get some freedom. Some freedom from these evil folks that want to put you up in chains, black folks. That's what we're doing. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah. And then let's not forget who actually, you know, built the cages and who actually like put them in chains.
Well, weren't they about to like cancel Dumbo like a couple of years ago? Because I sure don't seen about everything. I ain't never seen no elephant fly. Like,
oh, you mean the crows?
Yes, the black crows. We're talking like that.
Yeah,
I'm right there with you. But we're about to delete an entire movie because it was a little on the nose. But Hillary Clinton can go talk like that to him, and they think we're one, right? Yeah, well, I can probably say the N-word here, and everyone would be cool with it. But I'm chill. Don't worry about it.
With a soft A, yes.
With a soft A, yeah.
The thing that drives me the most nuts about it is like the complete and total lack of self-respect that people like that female reporter have for themselves. They will sit there in a crowd and listen to Hillary Clinton do that or Kamala Harris do that, and then, you know, clap like seals when it's fish feeding time and just not think anything of it. But then Trump comes in and says, "No, you got me all wrong. That's not what these things meant. Here's what my policies did, blah, blah, blah." And they're just absolutely unconsolable. And it's just, I just cannot resonate with that level of lack of self-respect to let somebody talk to me like Hillary Clinton and Kamala did, and then continue to go past the vote for him while I don't vote for Orange Man just because everybody told me he hated me.
Yeah, and that's a good point. And like one of the things that always kind of baffled me is why the media has always leaned so far left with this stuff, where it's like the Republicans bad. It's just like that's just the way it is anymore. It's like Republicans bad, period. Unless you're on like Fox News, in which case Democrats bad, you know. And the journalism lean isn't genuine. Like it's such a slant, and so much spin gets added to these talking points, to where it's like, to get like a true story, you go to like, you know, these types of shows. You go to podcasts that will call, like, as Ian and I like to call it, balls and strikes. So like, you give credit where credit is due, and you give criticism where criticism is due. And to me, like, that's always been the best way to do journalism, because it's authentic. It's really like seeing things for what they are and calling it out for what it is. You can't trust these like large networks anymore because there's so much fucking bias inherently in like their reporting. Like, even if they're a new reporter, they're told this is how you are to report. You don't say anything negative about, like Joe Biden or Kamala Harris, whatever it might be like now at the time. And it's mind blowing to me that like they sit there and they listen to her, like listen to Kamala give a speech like she did just a little bit ago. And like, wow, she's a fucking moron. But I can't say that. I have to create a new
Isn't
narrative.
she strong?
Yeah,
or the New York Times saying that the age was Joe Biden's superpower.
Yeah, they've had.
And now age matters now that he's out.
Yeah, it's always been something along those lines, like where they are able to kind of spin it on like a dime. They could.
Well, that's the thing is that
it was like, oh, age is just a number, and then the minute that Joe Biden was out, Trump's old.
Yep. Well, that's the thing too. Is like I've heard, like I said, saber rattling or whatever, but like people are coming out and saying we could have the first Black woman president. Isn't that something? It's like. Do you have fucking any idea that they've been hiding her more than they've been hiding Joe for the past 3 years? Yeah. Like everybody else has been paying attention, aside from your ass telling me that I'm ill-informed and I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. You're telling me that.
1 second, guys. I have to go help real quick. All right, give me 1 second.
But to Sean's point is like there's no such thing as journalism anymore. It's not journalism, is it, Dane? It's like what do we call them? The fourth arm of the government?
Yeah. That or the administrative state. There's 5, 6. I'm losing track of how many arms there are. But or here's a novel thing for those people that you may hear in your life and that we all hear from time to time. Oh, our opportunity to have a first Black woman president is 2 things. First of all, aren't you the side that's always like, this is why we need public education, and like liberals are smarter than conservatives because they on average have more college degrees, and that's the whole reason why they're smarter and make better voting decisions, and like, right? It's all about intelligence. It has nothing to do with all these identity things. They're always like intelligence, and that's how you keep a democracy strong, is by having a smart, well-informed voting population. And then those same people will turn around and say, I'm going to completely ignore any sort of my prefrontal cortex rational faculties to try to analyze who might be the best candidate, judge them on their policies. And I'm just going to say, oh, she has the right skin color or the right gender or the right blah, blah, blah. And that's what I'm going to vote on. So what was the whole point of all of this educated population? I don't get it. If you can just decide the best candidate by the way they look, then what are we doing here? What was the point?
But that's what we were always talking about, is it's disingenuous. That's the whole thing is about about every standpoint from the liberal side, is that it's super fucking disingenuous. Like when you hear them say, we need to have more programs for people that don't have the opportunities that I was given. It's like, okay, then take your money and start a fucking program and work on it and make sure that they don't get left behind. No, I can't do that. But I can vote for somebody that says that they'll do it, but then they'll never actually fucking do it.
Charity with other people's money.
But my whole crux of the matter is and we'll go back to the race thing. They said that we needed to end racism. Well, I don't know about you, Dane, but we grew up in Kansas, and I've never had a bad bone in my body for a person of a different color. But the same
I never even saw it around me, like in classmates and stuff.
And even when somebody would make like some kind of like joke, I'd be like, oh, that's fucked up. And then, kind of see stage left. But not, what is it called? Fuck. What did they do on social media when they post and they want not valor, but it's not, it's clout chasing.
Have to give me more than that.
When they post so that you know that they're a good person, what is that called?
Like
when they post
social virtue signaling?
Virtue signaling. That's what I'm not virtue signaling. I'm just telling you how I feel. But my point about the racism thing is they say we need to end racism. But their idea of ending racism is bringing it into every conversation, is to make it the fulcrum of every decision that they make. It's like, that's not ending racism. That's perpetuating it and making it stronger. If you think you have to hire somebody because they're Black, that's also racist.
Yeah. It's like the opposite of that Morgan Freeman
welcome
thing
back,
where he
Shawn.
was.
You entered at a very good time.
Yeah, I heard.
Go ahead,
I heard
weigh in.
Okay, so
Where Morgan Freeman was on Don Lemon, and he's like, you know how you stop racism? You quit talking about it.
Yes,
But
I
they
do
put it
agree.
into
I do agree
everything.
with that.
Yes.
I do have to go though right now because I have some things going on. I don't know if we can come back in like in 10 or 15 minutes or whatever to continue. And
They just don't like us, David.
No, it's not that at all.
These guys.
I could tell you in the backstage what's going on, but like
I understand.
It's
Kids
family
happen,
stuff. Yeah.
and it adds authenticity to the show when your guests have to leave abruptly.
No, it
Damn it.
doesn't have
After
to
they
be that way.
bitched
I'm
about you
giving you
for
shit. I'm giving you
We
shit.
can-
No
We can
shit
piece
at
the
all.
whole thing together. We can piece it together. Just go like this.
We'll
and
get
then
it
like
in
Ian
post.
gets this. Then you get this. Yeah, because it's pre-recorded, right? We're doing pre-recorded. Like let me.
Not as
get
far
it
as the
post.
people know, Shawn.
We'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks. Like,
All right. Yeah. So just give me if you can give me like just like 15 minutes, I can come back or something like that. I don't know. It's up to you guys or.
well, I think we're just about done with the episode.
Oh, okay. All right. Let me just.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do this thing. All right. So yes,
Yeah, we were just
racism.
We were just about to let you go, by the way.
the
Racism.
last thing.
I'm against it. Like, oh, thank you for going out on that limb.
the last thing, and we'll just get your thoughts on this, Shawn,
Yes.
and then if we have any closing thoughts, we'll finish up. But
Okay.
Kyle Rittenhouse started a bit of a kerfuffle on the political right, libertarian, conservative, conservatarian, that sort of the side of the spectrum. He started a kerfuffle with this comment recently that he's since walked back, I've seen, but
Yes.
This is what he had to say.
Hi, I'm Kyle Rittenhouse, Outreach Director for Texas Gun Rights. A lot of people are upset that I said I'm going to be writing in Ron Paul for President of the United States. And that is true. I will be writing in Ron Paul. Unfortunately, Donald Trump had bad advisors making him bad on the Second Amendment, and that is my issue. If you cannot be completely uncompromisable on the Second Amendment, I will not vote for you, and I will write somebody else in. We need champions for the Second Amendment, or our rights will be eaten away and eroded each day. I support my decision, and I have no takebacks.
Yeah. So when it comes to Kyle Rittenhouse, in that initial kind of like backlash that he got after this whole thing, you can vote for whoever you want. Like that's just the way it's supposed to be. Like when it comes to like democracy and whatnot, where you can like write in if you so choose to do that. Posting it online like that, kind of stupid. I mean, honestly, he's got a pretty large following. And, right now, if you really want to consider anything about, I was just talking about this on the Sipping with Shawn, like X Space thing, but like the decency being on the ballot, as the left likes to put it, that's 100% on the ballot, but like for the right. We are trying to save this nation. So we really do need everyone to kind of come together, despite whether the little variances of difference when it comes to conservatism, people need to come together behind Trump on this one, because we cannot afford to go like another 4 years of this chaos. And, one of the points that he brings up in there, which again, he's being kind of influenced by this guy, Dudley Brown. Dudley Brown is somebody that was sharing that post, and also a conservative, like a big 2A guy, but very anti-Trump in his posts. So I think that's another noteworthy thing to kind of mention. He brings up the fact that Trump would not be all for the 2A rights. I'm like, well, when has he ever said anything like that? Like show me the receipts, essentially. But if you really want to play that game, and I'll give you credit to say like, okay, you know what? Sure, why not? Let's claim that that's true. Guess what? Kamala 100% wants to do a gun buyback. She is going to implement a gun buyback. So you want to talk about 2A rights? I would rather go with the guy who allows you to have most of all of whatever it is that you want, not like totally 100% uninfringed, but like majority, versus somebody who says, I'm going to like force you to sell us your guns. Yeah, I feel like that's more of an infringement of 2A, obviously, than any policy that might actually say like, hey, we need to remove the bump stock, or we need to do this, or whatever that, whatever the argument might be. I feel like that's something where we need to see past that little bit of gray area and understand that I know it's like shall not be infringed, period, but like versus the alternate, it's like the lesser of two evils, I suppose, if you were going to like say that there was ever even like some kind of infringement policy in place for 2A. So like, I feel like he was misguided with a lot of his statement. I felt that he went into this trying to maybe persuade people to not vote for Trump necessarily, which is the wrong thing to do in this scenario. But you can do whatever you want, but trying to persuade other people, you start getting into this gray area of like, with like having them, the responsibility of that, having that many followers. And then, finally, remember, he's a kid. He's like early 20s. And as a few people who've talked to him have posted, he's very easily influenced. So like he can be convinced pretty easily, like to sway one way or the other, which obviously we saw within 12 hours, he completely changed his tune because people were coming at him and talking to him. I didn't agree with conservatives blocking him because they did not like the fact that he was going to vote for Ron Paul. I felt that was pretty immature and pretty stupid on their parts. Because like, again, you can choose to vote whoever you want to, but like when it comes down to like, like you're going to take it towards like, oh, he's not with us, he's against us. Like, no, he's misguided.
So we would love for you to be able to stick around and be able to tell you why you're wrong. But I guess you're just going to have to catch that with the people, the rest of the memes when it comes out on Monday. No, messing with you. We will have our thoughts on this subject matter. But what I wanted to do before I let you get off, if you remember Ian's, definitely fill in for him too. We want to tell people where they can find you. Where can they find you, Shawn, personally? All your channels, where they can find Ian if you remember his, and then Whiskey Capitalist together. Tell the memes how to get more Shawn in their life.
Sure, of course. Like, so I'm mostly on X, also on Telegram, but like my main platform has always been like X, where it's at I'm Shawn Cav, like the letters I am, and then my name's Shawn Cav. So that's me. At Sippin' with Shawn. That's the podcast that I do, where I do literally audio based Twitter spaces where you can join, you can be a part of the conversation as well. And it's a good time. It's pretty easy flowing. Like there's a few topics and then wherever the conversation goes, it goes. So it's a fun time. That's Fridays at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. Ian is at Ian Till Death, and him and his wife do a podcast called the Till Death Podcast, where they talk about married life and like different kind of like jokes and weird pop culture things that are going on in the news. And when they talk about that, it's every other Saturday, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. And then we do the Whiskey Capitalist, which is Monday and Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern weekly. So every Monday and Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, you can catch us. We do pop culture and political news, and we give our takes on the thing. And also every other Tuesday, we do a documentary stream where we watch a documentary. It's kind of Mystery Science Theater, but for based takes. So we kind of do some of that, and that's a great time. We have a whole network of shows, including Movies America. It's great movie reviews with base takes as well, like on like what's happening in Hollywood. So again, that's a great one to follow at Movies America. And he has streams on Sundays and Thursdays. So like definitely look into everything that we have going on with the Till Death Podcast Network, and hopefully we catch you in some of the streams. And I definitely want to get in touch with you guys, because I know this upcoming Wednesday, I don't know what your availability is like, and we'll talk about it later, but I'm going to need a co-host. So maybe if you guys want to come and join, we'll figure it out. We'll talk about it. Figure it out.
Let's talk about it.
Have your people call our people. We'll do
get right on that.
We'll do it super South California style.
Yes.
Listen, Mimis, if this was your first introduction to Shawn and Ian, I'm sure you're as thoroughly impressed as we have always been.
But we're sorry. We're also very sorry that this is the most disjointed we've ever been to be on a stream where like Ian's got wildfires and I have family emergencies to go and handle. So yeah.
No worries.
No worries. There will be more opportunities for a full show, start to finish. But definitely follow all of their stuff. If you are like us, one of the sort of people that think, okay, the major institutions have failed us in almost every sense that they possibly could. So the only option is to build parallel institutions outside of their control and, grow our own spaces. That's what we try to do here with the Sane Space. That is what Ian and Shawn are doing with cultivating not only their own individual podcasts, their joint podcast, and the entire Till Death podcast network. So definitely go check them out. Follow all of the accounts that Shawn just told you about. I promise you'll have a good time with their content. And more importantly, you'll help grow the larger Sane Space, the Sane Space outside of just weapons of meme destruction, by helping build those parallel institutions of independent content creators that are trying to speak a little bit of sanity into the void.
Yeah, thank you guys. I really do appreciate both of you. You guys have a lot of great content, great personalities. I love the show. I wish I could stay here longer and just like shoot the shit with you guys because you guys are amazing.
No,
absolutely, buddy.
Right back at you, Ben.
Thanks for coming by, and we'll get you on again soon. Thanks, Shawn.
I'll shoot you guys a text later tonight. All right,
yes, sir.
Talk with you soon. Take care, guys.
Have a good one, buddy. Bye. So, David, just
stuck with you now.
A couple closing
thoughts.
It's so
nice having other people here.
A couple closing thoughts on the Rittenhouse thing. First of all, I agree with the whole concept of, vote for whoever you want, but influence and all of that kind of stuff. The one thing I will say is this is the opposite side of that influence coin. One way to look at it, and this is the way a lot of pro-Trump accounts viewed it, because I looked at that post, and I can probably scroll through it if you want. But a lot of people are like, screw you, you're stupid, I'm unfollowing. And these are all like Trump conservatives. And their concern, which is not an unjustifiable concern, the reaction is not justifiable, but their concern is, listen, you have 1.2 million followers and probably more people that hear your stuff. And we don't need any division within the ranks, right? We're trying to, as Shawn was pointing out, we're trying to take down something far, far worse in terms of 4 more years of the essential Biden administration. However, what I will say, and we did an episode about when Trump went and talked to the Libertarian Convention, if you are a very small political minority, you can have an outsized impact on the election by leveraging your numbers. And so, yes, he has 1.2 million voters or followers, and they may be encouraged not to vote for Trump and maybe write in Ron Paul. Conversely, he can use that 1.2 million to encourage the Trump campaign to be like, listen, this is a very legitimate concern that 2A people have. You did pass the bump stock ban. You did say when you were in office that I'm a fan of taking the guns first and due process second. You did say and do some of these anti-2A things, and we are principled in our stance for 2A all the time. So if you want me and my 1.2 million people, give us some concessions, not unlike Trump did at the Libertarian Convention. Tell us you're going to free Ross Ulbricht. Tell us you're going to, protect cryptocurrency from being regulated out of the market by the Fed. Tell us, these kind of things. And it seems that that's what Kyle Rittenhouse did, because he recently posted just today that, and I'll just read it instead of showing it because he pinned it. He said, over the past 12 hours, I've had a series of productive conversations with members of Trump's team, and I am confident he will be the strong ally gun owners need to defend our Second Amendment rights. My comments made last night were ill-informed and unproductive. I'm 100% behind Donald Trump and encourage every gun owner to join me in helping send him back to the White House. Now, is that because he got burned and is apologizing, or has he really been having those conversations with the Trump campaign?
It's because he's 20.
Possibly too. But
let's just call a spade a spade. Like when you remember when you're 20?
Let's not also write off that maybe there are people from the Trump campaign that called him and said, "Hey, dude, that's not the Trump that you're going to get this time.
I'm so
We're
sick
pro 2A
and
all the
fucking
way."
tired of like it just becoming you make one wrong move or you're wrong once on the internet and you're done. Like that we're humans. We're supposed to fuck things up. And then guess what? When we fuck things up and then we fix it, we don't fuck them up again. That's the whole point. You learn. You were all on this planet to fucking learn. And that little dude just learned a life lesson. Hey, I got 1.5 million followers. If I come out and say some shit, I might get tanked. That's fine. But, and then again, it always tracks back to the same thing that we say about, whatever entertainer comes out and puts their stupid fucking foot in their mouth that week. Like if your vote for Kyle Rittenhouse or if your vote is assuaged by Kyle Rittenhouse and how his vote goes, then you've already lost. You're not voting, Kyle is. So come up with your own conclusions. Maybe, okay, so Kyle has a problem with it. Maybe go and look at Trump's track record against 2A. Take it as an incentive. Maybe Kyle's right. Maybe you don't agree with him. Maybe you do agree with him.
Maybe reach out to him and try to convince him to come back instead of saying, fuck you, I'm done, you can't, like that kind of stuff. Yeah. Talk to him. Shocker.
What a concept. Talk in this country.
Yeah. And that's like I said, and this is what the Mises Caucus from the Libertarian Party, this is like the caucus of like Dave Smith and, the libertarian wing of the Libertarian Party, said, listen, if your comments last night got Trump to commit to being better on gun rights than he was his first term, then your comments were not unproductive. And pointing out how Trump has fallen short of supporting gun rights in comparison to Ron Paul is not ill-informed. And that's basically my take on it too, is like, listen, first of all, he's, kudos, to what Shawn said. He's one individual, and to what you said. He's one individual, he has his vote, whatever, you're still allowed to vote however you want. But the other thing is, it's not just that all of his followers are going to turn on Trump and then that's going to be the margin of victory for Kamala. It is, listen, your side says that they are pro 2A all the way. Your candidate acted differently when he had the opportunity. Yeah. Let's have a discussion, an adult discussion about this. Let's come to a consensus, and let's either get your side to live up to their rhetoric or at least be mask off and say, listen, maybe Trump isn't pro 2A all the way. And voters have a right to know that. So listen, exactly. It's leveraging the platform that he does have to try to get a better President Trump than candidate Trump. Because we all talk about this from 2016. Candidate Trump, the things he said was way better than what he did when he was in office. Because he put in Mike Pompeo and John Bolton and Nikki Haley and all these war hawks. That's not what he campaigned on. So if we can get campaign Trump to be more like President Trump when he actually has the power, then we're all winning. And yes, I definitely hear Shawn's point, and I agree with it. It's much better to align with somebody that you disagree with 10% than somebody that disagrees with you 100% and probably wants to kill you. I understand that. But we also have to realize that one vote, and I'm just talking pure math here. I'm not even talking philosophy or anything. Pure math, one vote makes zero difference statistically. One vote is not going to change the direction of the election one way or another. So Rittenhouse not voting the way you want him to vote has zero impact on the election overall. So let's not clutch our pearls and be all and try to get like the Democrats and be all like, oh, the sanctity of democracy and it's throwing your vote away if you write in Ron Paul or whatever. It will never, ever, and I will never hear otherwise. It will never be a wasted vote if you vote your conscience. Because at the end of the day, no matter what the other person does when they get in office, if you didn't co-sign them by voting for them, you can lay your head down on the pillow at night and know that you played no part in whatever atrocity they're committing. So,
welcome to the Libertarian Party.
Yeah.
But anyway,
come on over, but don't vote for Chase. He sucks.
Yep. Anyway,
right in Dave Smith.
With all that being said, after this weird episode that started with 4 and now only we remain, where can they find this episode 205 of Weapons of Meme Destruction podcast, Dane?
You can find this episode at wmdpodcast.com/205. They can get the audio only on any podcast catcher. Just search Weapons of Meme Destruction. They can get the video on YouTube, Rumble, Odyssey, and X. They can link up with us on our private members only Facebook page at $5 a month or more of support. They can click down below this video anywhere they find it. Click our Bitcoin wallet and donate some Bitcoin to us. They can buy merch from our store. They can go to the website, WMDpodcast.com, support our work tab and see all of the donation options there. One time, $5, $10, $15 a month, whatever tickles their fancy. But even more importantly than that, or maybe equally as important as real cash, is like, subscribe, share, comment, talk about the sane space, share us with your friends and family, get the good news out that there are still sane people in this world. And we're trying to speak a little bit of truth to power, unlike our media, that's what they're supposed to be doing, but never seem to. We're trying to do it. And we're trying to grow this sane space one subscriber at a time. So everything you do on that front is much appreciated.
And just one more time, I want to thank the Whiskey Cat Boys for coming on here and spending as much time as they could with us as possible before they
burn in flames and
their family falls into disarray and someone's killed by flame. So hopefully Ian's okay. We'll get a report back to you as soon as we possibly can. But same as every week, guys, stay safe. But more importantly, stay free.